Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having soda, and tonight I'll be discussing What Fury Brings by Tricia Levenseller. This is a book I received as an ARC from NetGalley, and of course I'm giving my honest opinion. Unfortunately, I did DNF this at 41%. If DNF reviews are not your cup of tea, that's okay. Feel free to keep scrolling. I just want to give my thoughts on how far I got into the book. These are the highlights and the content warnings. So what's this book about? Now, because I didn't finish the book, I am going to read the synopsis straight from the Zon just to make sure it's accurate. What Fury Brings, a sexy, empowering romantasy featuring a warrior general who must kidnap and train a husband in order to take her rightful place as queen. Let's get this clear, Prince. I have claimed you. That means you belong to me now. There's a shortage of men in the kingdom of Amaria. After a failed rebellion against the matriarchy, most noblemen in the country are dead. Now the women of Amaria must obtain their husbands, should they want one, by kidnapping them from other kingdoms. Olaria, a warrior princess vying for the throne, is determined to prove her worth by kidnapping a husband, and not just any husband. To outmaneuver her treacherous cousin, she needs the best. Fortunately, the second-born prince of their greatest enemy is widely known for both his looks and his sweet, docile temperament. He's the perfect choice for her to secure her claim to the throne. Sanos, the heir of the kingdom of Brutus, has nothing but contempt for the idea of a society run by women. Trained from birth to fight, lead, and follow in his father's overbearing footsteps, his path has always been set, until he takes his younger brother's place in a drunken prank and finds himself kidnapped and carted off to the Amarian palace and informed that he is to become the husband of Queen Potential Olaria. Sanos needs to escape before anyone learns his real identity, but the more he gets to know his captor, the less sure he is of what he truly wants. So what are my thoughts? Again, I did DNF this at 41%. Now remember, reading is subjective and not every book is for a reader, and this just may not have been the book for me, but if it sounds like something you're interested in, I strongly encourage you to give it a try for yourself, and I hope you love it. For me, this is the first time I've ever read a book by this author, and I will say I have no issues with the author's writing style, but more the story itself. When I signed up for it, one of the tropes being marketed was female rage. I know the author has mentioned this in one of her own videos about promoting this book. I will say, however, based on how far I got into this book, I don't think this is female rage centered from the female lead character, but rather from the author's side as her response to how society has treated women in the past and continues to treat them. And this is her novel of female rage. This is made evident by the author's note in the book, which I usually skip over, but I read this time, and I would strongly encourage anyone who chooses to read this book to read the author's note so you can understand the author's headspace as she was writing this book. Now, the reason I bring up the trope of female rage is that is when a woman has been oppressed either by a system or a person, usually a man, to the point where she just burns it all to the ground, and I love that. Now, for our female lead, she is from a kingdom where men are oppressed and women are the oppressors, and when it comes to the system itself, you see small instances where it looks like she is uncomfortable. One being when a young boy is taken into her cousin's harem, and while there are protections in place where this boy should not be touched until he is of maturity age, she knows her cousin's going to touch him that night. And even though she's in charge of the military and her aunt's the queen, she does not think she's in a place where she could put protections and stop this from happening. Instead, she needs to play the political game and gain the noble's favor so that she can be named heir apparent, so that she can eventually become the queen. And she hints that once she's in a place of power as the queen, she is going to change things. So you're like, okay, at least she doesn't agree with the system. But as the story progresses, you see she doesn't want to burn down this system. Maybe there are parts she doesn't agree with, but as a whole, she agrees with it. She does not think men are capable of leading, that men are capable of having a say when it comes to themselves or just being people. This is not just for the benefit of nobles in public, but even in private when it comes to Sanos. She does not believe he can give consent. She has him touched by the eunuchs, even though he says, I do not want strangers touching me. I do not want them touching me. She brushes it off. She has him shaved without his consent, and she has him pierced without his consent, all for her pleasure. She doesn't really see him as a human being who can give consent and say no. And for me, that does not seem like she is going to change it once she's in power. Maybe she changes later on the book and she plans to change the system, but I think she's only going to do minor tweaks. So in the end, she is an oppressor through and through. And for me, I was just not vibing with her, and I was not vibing with the story because of that. So when I put it down, I had no urge to pick it up. In the end, this was just not the book for me. But if it does not sound like something you're interested in, I strongly encourage you to give it a try for yourself, and I hope you love it. It will be available September 23rd, and I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.